like big butts and I cannot lie. Well, a lot of conservative white culture put black people down that we're too sexual, we're too unhealthy, we eat all of these bad things. Now, you go to places like Miami, every person of every color's got a BBL,
Yep.
right? Every woman wants that shape that was shamed for a very long time. So I'll say this. I bet you that 50% of the guys that say something negative are actually secret thick lovers.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say 80% of the guys that just don't say anything.
The following podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, medical, or any type of professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations surrounding sexuality, relationships, and consent can vary by location and are subject to change. If you have specific legal or medical concerns, we strongly recommend consulting with a licensed professional in your jurisdiction. Listener discretion is advised, as this podcast may discuss adult themes and sensitive topics. By continuing to listen, you confirm that you are 18 years or older. Welcome to the Siren of Freedom podcast, sounding the alarm by bringing clarity and freedom to the realm of sexuality. Our aim is to give others a place to share their stories and release themselves from the weight of shame and guilt. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Siren of Freedom podcast. Today, we're continuing on with our series of Slut Diaries. And specifically, today, we're going to talk about my journey back to body positivity. And I have my producer and husband, Socrates, on here with me. Hello, babe.
Hey, mommy, how are you, girl?
Good. It was a great day.
Yeah, it's really productive. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Got a lot done.
Yeah, so before I start asking these questions about your journey back to body positivity, I want to kind of say a little bit about me. I've really struggled with describing this because I don't know how to say it right. So I'll say I love thick women. I like BBWs. I like 3-hour glass, 2-hour glass, 1-hour glass. I am, as Mexicans say, a torta chaser. I am, a fat chaser, whatever you want to call it. I don't like those names. I don't like those terms for women. I think human beings are human beings, and attraction is attraction, and beauty is beauty, and health is health. But the reason why we want to talk about this is because I married you because you are proud of your body.
Mm-hmm.
I married you because for the first time I was married to somebody who did not think it was a negative that they were curvy. And I married you because you made me fall in love with every part of your body. And I felt like your body was this amazing artwork, even at certain parts of your body that you weren't 100% happy with, and you wanted to do something to, not because you were negative or bad or wrong or unattractive, but because you wanted to, look in the mirror and love what you saw and how you fit in your outfits and all that. So I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and it's what makes me so attracted to you. So tell me.
Thank you.
You said back to body positivity. So talk about being there the first time.
Well, I want to take it back to childhood too. I was always a super skinny kid. Super skinny. Like, I remember seeing pictures of my legs, and I thought it was like only part of it was like part of my leg in the photo, and I thought it was someone's arm because it was so skinny, and this is at like 10, 11 years old. And I would actually always get made fun of for how skinny I was. You know, like some kids would get made fun of for being fat. I was getting made fun of for being skinny. Um, and it wasn't until after puberty and in high school that I gained a little bit of weight. You know, I was probably not even 100 pounds until I was 12, 13 years old. But I never had boobs. Those never came in. I definitely gained the booty portion. My sisters all got boobs. But the boobs never came in for me. And so I would kind of get made fun of about that. And I struggled with like feeling positive about, you know, my body for a long time there. But around the time I was like 18, 19 years old, I just decided this is what I have and I'm going to love it. And when I met my first husband, I really felt great about my body, except I always just wish I had boobs. he wasn't like pushy about the boob thing or, you know, unhappy with it, but I talked about it so much that he actually like got me like some pills off of an infomercial like called like Blue Sant or something like that to try to, he's like, just help me, you know? And he's like, well, he's like, I don't care, but he's like, you just talk about it so much, I want to help you feel more confident. So I took the pills, and all they did is like basically kind of make you go through puberty again. Like you break out, and I mean, maybe I gained half an inch. Like it really wasn't like not worth it. So I just kind of gave up on it, and I was always like fine with my body. I worked out. I was like 135 pounds when I got married the first time. I worked out 5 times a week. You know, I had lots of time to work out, and I was always just like happy with my body. I felt healthy. We went through a period of time where we sold some nutrition products, and I got down to like 130, I think. I'm 5'8" though. So 130 pounds on 5'8" is pretty stinking skinny, actually. But I was healthy, and I think the smallest I could get down to at that weight was like a size 6 because I just always had a booty. Yeah, so that was, you know, and until I had kids, I just felt great about my body, and I just felt healthy and good, and I had time to work out, and I just always felt positive and good about my body, and I just didn't really think about it too much.
The time between really saying to yourself, this is the body I got, I'm going to rock it, I'm going to be proud of it, to the time you had your first kid, that's when you were at the body positivity of, I love my body, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's great.
So like 18, 19 until like 20, I was almost 23 when I had my first kid. So good 4 or 5 years there.
Okay. Well, then the obvious next question is, when did it start going downhill?
So after I had my daughter, then, you know, I was probably like a whopping 180, like 9 months pregnant with her. And then I struggled like anybody to like lose the weight. My body changed shape. I mean, I was like measuring myself the entire time I was pregnant. Like I was measuring my thighs, my arms, like my belly, because I just like really just wanted to stay healthy. But I lost a lot of weight initially. I lost like 25 pounds from being sick, and then I gained it all back plus 35 more. So that's where I landed at so probably not even 180. Anyways, like 170 in there. And then after I had her, I lost it all pretty quickly. But then in the subsequent years, just being a busy mom, I just gained the weight slowly back. So then by the time I had my second child 3 years later, fully pregnant with him, I was 195. And then the last one, the last two are only 13 months apart. So I was same, like 197 with the last one, fully pregnant. And then after them, I just really couldn't get it off. I was busy running around with kids. I maybe made it to the gym once a week. I tried to eat the best I could, but I settled in and my body weight was 185. And from that point on, my ex-husband, now ex-husband, but husband at the time, just constantly criticized me, like every single day. Like, are you going to be fat forever? Are you going to go to the gym today? Are you going to eat that? Like, and it never felt like, hey, I want you to be healthy and I'm concerned, because you need to be healthy. It was just all comments like that. And, I would come out in an outfit. I couldn't go shopping alone because I was just so worried about coming home and like him criticizing the outfit. So I really let his comments and his influence over me affect my view of myself. And it's crazy because all growing up, of being made fun of being skinny and stuff like that, I still didn't like completely sink into negativity because my dad has like a bunch of daughters and he never once criticized anything. It was about being modest, but he never said anything about our bodies and I really credit him with that because I know a lot of father-daughter relationships where the daughters are like, my dad said stuff about my body and that affected me. So men out there, you don't really know, like you have like a big influence on your daughters of how they see themselves. And I think my dad actually helped like me have as positive an outlook as I did until I got into the marriage where after having kids, I didn't lose the weight. And, then it was just this constant thing. And my ex-husband, he gained weight too when we had kids. He was helping me eat for two. And I never said anything to him because I don't know. I just that's just never been something that, bothered me or affected my attractiveness to someone is a few pounds here or there. So and it's interesting because now I actually weigh like 215. So I weigh more now than I did fully pregnant with any of my kids. And I'm the happiest I've ever been. I feel great in my body. I feel sexy. I feel attractive. And a lot of that does have to do with the people that I've met along the way. And we'll get into some of those stories today.
Yeah. So, if we want to cut this out, we can, but I'm going to hit you with a surprise. I'm going to ask you a question I don't think I've ever asked you before.
Okay.
So, we always talk about how your parents gave you a really powerful and positive viewpoint of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And around this time, I don't think it was like a secret that having children and being a mom, a stay-at-home mom at that, is hard for any woman to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you allow your husband to affect you the way it did with all of that in the background?
Well, I think just like anything, it's like, I think that I don't want to misquote who actually said this, but there is a famous person in history who said, if you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, people will believe it. And I think that every single day hearing comments like that, it just got into me and like dealing with postpartum and then trying to raise kids. Like we got divorced when our oldest was 7 and our youngest was 2. So, for years, just constantly hearing those comments every single day when honestly, like we had a pool. I'm outside swimming with the kids. Like I'm being active with the kids. And then when we went through our separation period and I got so stressed out from all the divorce stuff that I lost 35 pounds in 6 weeks. And I got back down to like 150. And everyone that knew me was like, "Are you okay? Are you sick?" And I wasn't telling them anything about the divorce at that time. And then after that period of time, when my husband and I got back together to try to work it out, I started being happy again, and I started being able to eat again because I really wasn't able to eat for that 6 week period. And then I gained maybe like 10 pounds back. And then I remember being out by the pool in my bikini and my husband saying to me, "Oh, I'm going to have to keep you stressed out all the time because you just look much better." Because I had gained 10 pounds back. I was a whopping 165.8, And so it's just like those constant comments just after a while just wears you down. And I think that if it hadn't been like, it was just, I didn't have anyone else like in my ear, you know? Like I wasn't really on social media or hanging out with people, and I was just wanted my husband to be happy. I think that's why sometimes when women talk about wanting to make their husband happy a lot, it kind of triggers me because I was like, okay, I was trying to make my husband happy. And the whole time, like, he was just like, it was never enough, never enough, never enough. Constant comments. And then so anything that if I every single day was told you how stupid you were or something, eventually that would get to you, if I just made constant comments. So I think it's that. It's just I didn't have the ammunition to fight back.
Yeah, and that's what I really would love all of the women in my life to know. It's like me and you got into a huge argument one time, and I told you later, I said, sometimes it's okay to go off. It's okay to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to yell and scream and fight back. And then one time we had an argument and you said out loud something like, "I rebuke you," or "I'm this." And I was like, half of me was like, what the hell? And the other half, I was like, that's dope. Because in the back of my mind, I knew you weren't talking about me. You were talking about how I made you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I said block, block, block.
I think you've said
something to
both
that degree. Yeah.
separate times. And why I'm so proud of you about that is because I can sit here and tell you, look, when it coming from me, mommy, I have rooted out all of my negative thoughts. And that doesn't make me perfect. It just means I spend too much time thinking about what I'm going to say and half the time trying to figure out to take the anger out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that doesn't mean it doesn't come through. But I was like, I'm so proud of you because I'm not giving you the shit. It's in your head. But you also gave yourself permission to fight whatever it is. It doesn't matter if I'm attacking you or if I'm not and you feel that way. You gave yourself permission to fight back something. And I think that's why women struggle in those situations, because they're not going to think that way about their husband. They're not going to have a combative thought with the man that they're in love with and want to spend the rest of their lives with or try to work it out.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're not defending yourself against his words, and those words are getting through. And so I asked that question because I knew a lot of people, me in my past, if you see any of the women I've been in serious relationships with, none of them are gonna have what do you call it? When you measure how much body fat you have. I forgot what you call it. But anyway, in other words, I date thick women. I've dated skinny women, but I've dated thick women. And every single one of them grew up with a negative image of themselves to start with, and then at some point an ex would use that against them.
Mm-hmm.
So them being perpetually insecure or never settling into it, at least with me, I felt like it was normal. So when I met you, I was like, this is different. She actually has a fundamental liking, fundamentally at peace, and fundamentally like excited about your body.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's rare. So Even people who have strong foundations, like you were saying, if you are just around people that are repeating something over and over and over, it's going to get through. And I just said all that to say, what's been on my heart and mind for the longest time recently is just the changes in my life, the things that are going amazing in my life is for one reason and one reason only. I started changing the people I hung around with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's change the mood up a little bit and talk to me about when it started to turn around for you.
So by the time we got divorced, I was just at this place where I was, I think, then I was around 160 or something like that. Is kind of where I settled out. And so I was kind of really enjoying, I was getting a lot of attention from men when we were going through our separation period. We tried to go out a lot. And, I even had a little contest with myself, like, let's see how many free drinks I can get tonight. Because it'd been a long time since I'd had, positive attention from men. So, so I would go out, I would get a lot of positive attention. And I would be like, wow, this really feels great to have some positive attention. And then, my husband at the time would say something negative about it. And I was just like, fuck you, dude. Like, I'm finally getting some positive attention because and I've lost weight, and it just kept showing that, he was miserable with himself. Right. And then I just started thinking this guy is so unhappy that it won't matter. It won't matter what I look like if I'm 700 pounds or 70 pounds. He's not going to be happy with me. And, that's just really, by the time we got divorced, I was just like, okay, I'm done. Like, and then after that, I said to myself, you know what? I need to be happy on the inside. And the outside of me does not matter. I need to feel happy inside. And then I just did whatever was convenient. Like even my kids gained some weight because, I was working hard. I was a single mom. We got things on the go a lot. And I just didn't worry about it. I just didn't worry about my weight. And I gained quite a bit of weight. I probably gained like 40 pounds. And then, but it didn't matter in the realm of new men. New men were like, wow, your body's amazing. Like, I never heard so, and yeah, people will be like, yeah, well, they just wanted to get with you. So what? They still, some guys didn't even get with me and they would just say nice things. And then once I discovered black men, they were like, girl, you're so skinny. And I was like, I'm freaking 195 pounds. And they thought I was skinny. And so then when I got into that culture, where thick women are just worshipped by black men, then, it changed my life forever. But it wasn't the first guy that made me feel better about my body was this little short guy that I met. I was doing some work on a house and he was there doing something else. And we met and he was just a little flirt. He was like 5'5", just a little short guy, but he had a personality on him. And he said, you want to go out? And I said, he's like, I'd love to take you dancing. And I was like, you're way shorter than me. He's like, that's perfect. Wear some heels too, because then my face will be eye level with your titties. And I'm thinking, I don't even have titties. But he was just so much fun. I was like, sure, I'll go out with you. So we went out and he just kept talking about my boobs all night. He's like, your boobs are so great. I can't believe you fed several kids with those and, all these things. And I was just like flabbergasted. Like, okay, my whole life I've kind of felt like I didn't have boobs. And this guy is just going on and on and on about them. And we just had such a good time. And I think we went out to eat. We went out dancing. We ended up going back to his place. And then when he saw my boobs naked, he was even more like, wow. And just on and on about my body. And I was just like, this is so different. This guy all the parts of my body that I had been insecure about, he was just praising them. And so that was the first guy where I was like, I just started thinking about it. Maybe my body isn't that bad. Maybe it's actually pretty good. Like, and then as I experienced more and more men and then got to black men, like that's when it really just went over the edge of like, oh, and I just realized, I thought, well, maybe I was just with the wrong flavor, and the other men just weren't appreciating all of the curves that I had. But I had just as many white men as black men, but the black men were the ones that would just gush about it. So that's kind of where it started going up for me in the body positivity.
I love it. I love it. And I want to say a few things about this. Not that every black man loves thick women. Some black men want them as skinny as they can be. Black people are not a monolith, right? But I will say this. In our culture, we used to be shamed for our curviness. In other words, back in slavery days, they had a woman that they put in cages and they displayed her at fairs and at, you know, private events because she had a huge ass, huge, like shelf-like ass. And it wasn't even that too long ago where, I'm in my 50s. I can remember, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Well, a lot of conservative white culture put black people down that we're too sexual, we're too unhealthy, we eat all of these bad things. Now, you go to places like Miami, every person of every color's got a BBL.
Yep.
Right? Every woman wants that shape that was shamed for a very long time. So I'll say this. I bet you that 50% of the guys that say something negative are actually secret thick lovers.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say 80% of the guys that just don't say anything are actually either they don't care as much as the people say they should, or they really love it and they just don't want to get into the fray.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you there's a lot smaller number of real men that actually is just a preference or a health thing to them.
Yeah.
Right? But so I'll get off my soapbox on that. I will say this too, because I'm always talking about the manosphere. And I'll say one last fact. High level men, the thing that Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate, all those guys say that are high level, according to one of the best scientists I know, Andrew Huberman, he was on a podcast with a comedian with Andrew and a comedian with Charlemagne the God. And he said on there, and you can look it up, on there, I think it's Flagrant podcast, that 30% of high value men also love curvy women. 30% is not a small number. Now, yes, 70% of high value men want skinnier women, but that's a very large number of people. Out of every 100, that's 30 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies, don't believe the bullshit that's out there. Find your own peace and happiness first. So anyway, let's get into when you started saying, no, this body's the shit.
Well, you know what it actually was, as I'm sitting here, I'm really thinking about it, because I'm like, man, I was just letting too many men have a say in how I was feeling and owning about my body. But then in 2017, which we talked about in another podcast, was kind of the first year of sluttiness. I think that confidence really soared. But you know what was also in 2017 for me? That was also when I started playing women's football. And when you play women's football, you see every shape, size, everything out there. Right. And
right.
So you see that no matter your shape, no matter your size, you're coming together as a team for one goal. And it's to be strong, it's to be healthy, and it's to fight against something else, your opponent, And it's not about like, man, there's 300 and something pound women and everybody is just praised for their role. And I played center um, when I was really just working out and doing all the practices. I was probably like a really muscular, like 195. Um, so I don't feel too bad. Like, I've gained 20 pounds since not playing sports anymore, and I still feel really great. But I think that was like actually the height of like being like, you know what, this body is made for more. It's made for more than just like what men think of it. It's made for being strong and working together with other women and to accomplish goals. And, and just after you play 7 games in a day, and then you go that night and you put on heels and a gown for a gala, you feel like a fucking badass. Like, there's no greater feeling than that day of like playing 7 games, just killing it out, leaving it all out on the field, as we would say, and then going and putting on a gown and heels and just going from badass to beautiful all in one day. And I think from that point on, it was like some men liked it, some men didn't, and I didn't give a fuck anymore. And so playing that for 3 seasons, I think ever since then, I haven't looked down on my body at all because I saw what my body was capable of. Even being someone, in their, let's see, so that was like 8 years ago. Yeah, even being in my mid to late 30s, playing a sport, not even being in the best shape ever, but just using my size to accomplish something. And then after that, I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm never letting anyone make me feel bad about my body again because I know what it can do beyond just what it looks like.
I love it. I love it. So, where do you want to go from here?
Well, I just want to encourage people. It's like, we, especially moms, some people have had really traumatic births, and it takes a lot to bounce back from that. But it's like, whatever your body settles into, what is it that you call it with the weight thing? You say every body kind of has their own equilibrium of like what it's going to be. It's like I kind of settled into where my body was 225 was kind of where I ended up after not playing sports anymore. Gained about 30 pounds. That was just where I was at. Didn't have any trouble attracting men, but I didn't care about my weight. I cared about, dressing for my size, about looking cute. When I met you, put on a little happy weight, but I had a reason, and it was what my body.
Because I was trying to fatten you up. Let's just say it.
But
your body, fortunately for me, stores a lot of it in the thighs and the booty. So once I discovered that, I said, let's have another round of charcuterie, mommy.
But again, when I got to, around 245, my reason for wanting to lose some weight was never about how my body looked. It was all about what I would be able to do or not do with my body. And that was, we love ziplining. We love going to water parks. I love being in all kinds of crazy sexual positions. And there were certain positions where I felt like my fat was being shoved up into my lungs and I couldn't breathe and I was really uncomfortable. And so it was all about what my body could do and not do at the weight. And so then I got food allergy testing. I stopped eating gluten. I lost about 30 pounds. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get those upgraded rims. And so I got some boobs. Got some boobs recently. That puts about 7 pounds back on you. And now I'm around 215. And I'm so happy with my weight. I feel comfortable. I can do everything that I want to do. I can do the zip lining, the water parks, the crazy sexual positions. I can run away from a bad guy if I have to. I don't really ever like running, though. I've never liked running, even when I was skinny. So it's really about what my body can do. And that's what matters to me. And now I just look in the mirror and I'm like, I know what my body can do. And so I feel great. I feel like the shit. So, and you know? It helps that you appreciate it. You know, he's always pouting and wanting me to gain a little bit, but I'm pretty determined to stay around the 215 mark from here on out.
And let me say this really quick, ladies. The society and the capitalism, and I'm a free market capitalist, but society and capitalism wants you to confuse three things that are separate: health, beauty, and attraction. And I'm going to give you something really easy to go by. Health is about numbers. Beauty is about numbers, specifically the Fibonacci sequence. But attraction is about feelings. And I'll explain. Health is about your numbers. What's your cholesterol level? What's your heart rate? What is your lung capacity? Right? What's your blood pressure? Right? How much pressure is on your knees? Those are numbers. Beauty is actually really simply described this way: anything that the brain can easily process. So when your face is symmetrical, meaning how long your nose is, how wide your nose is, how wide your head is, how big your head is, how tall you are, how spaced your eyes are from each other, all those things need to flow in what's called the golden ratio or the Fibonacci sequence. Look it up. That's about beauty. And we can all process a woman or a man that has features that are just so easily to process. But attraction is something completely different. When people say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, what they mean is attraction is in the eye of the beholder. Because attraction has to do with all kinds of factors. Beauty is one, but also quirks, your insecurities, their insecurities, your skill sets, their skill sets, your ability to make people laugh, your intelligence, how well, their past trauma, their past relationships with their parents. People are attracted to all kinds of things. Be yourself. Now, separate, because the beauty industry wants you to think that health has something to do with beauty. So if you're unhealthy, you're not beautiful, so you better be healthy. And the makeup industry wants you to think that beauty equals attraction. If you look like this model that we're showing our makeup on, then you'll get the same kind of men they get. Those are all lies. Men are attracted to women for all kinds of reasons. Be yourself. Worry about your health independently. Do whatever you can to make your whole body more symmetrical. Worry 90% about how you are as yourself, authentically, because that is what's going to be attractive to the guy that's either going to be your soulmate or your playmate.
Well, and we say all the time, like guys will say, confidence is what's attractive. And I think, my body weight didn't change after I played football that much, like 20 pounds is not that big of a deal. And I just had different friends that got divorced after me, were so worried about getting back out there in the sexual realm, stretch marks, C-section scars, saggy boobs. And I just told them this. I said, listen, I have slept with all kind of men after I got divorced. Tall, short, fat, fit, handsome, ugly, like every single type, and even the most handsome guys, no one ever told me to put my clothes back on. Like, ugh, get out of here, I said, so when you're in that space, it's like the feeling of our body, even like as the curvier you are, your whole body feel like one big titty. I mean, it's great. So do not, you have it in your mind what your feeling is and what your confidence is. So just go in there. If you 300 pounds, rock that shit. Take your clothes off and own it. Whoever you're with will love it. If you're 120 pounds and you feel like you're too skinny, just own it. Just own it. Like, there's several books that I have read. One of them is Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts. And she talks about having a day just for your pleasure at home. And that is where you take off all your clothes, you get all your foods, all your favorite foods, chocolates, cheeses, whatever. Put on all kind of nice music and just sit and lay or whatever you want, whatever comfortable for you in a comfortable space and just eat food naked. And she's like, it will be an amazing exercise and just helping your confidence that your body is perfect just the way it is. So I just want to encourage you ladies that are out there, and, we all have our insecure moments, but it's really up to you to build up your own confidence. What other people say doesn't fucking matter. And again, we let that constant stream from someone influence us. And so I'm not saying it doesn't affect us, but if we constantly will combat that with the good things and right now it's like body positivity is trending. So, if you're curvy and have some pounds, like, this is the era for you. We're in our curvy girl era, but just love the skin you're in. And then the people around you and the men around you that interact with you, they'll love it too. And that's really what matters.
I love it. I love it. So anything else before we get out of here?
Nope, I kind of wanted to keep this one a little short and sweet. So thanks, ladies, and I would love to hear from you of what you've done to increase your body confidence. You can email me, thesirenoffreedom@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great night.
No more waiting, no more chains, breaking rules, rewriting names. This is our time, this is our fire. Hear the call, we're rising higher. On your truth, live out loud. No more fear, stand up proud. You were made to rise. This is your time. Waves may crash, but we still stand. Hearts unchained, no demands. Follow the voice, hear the sound. Freedom's here, we've been found. The siren of freedom calling you home. No more hiding, let yourself roam. Rise with the tide, fearless and free. This is your destiny. Waves may crash, but we still stand. Hearts unchained, no demands. Follow the voice, hear the sound. Freedom's here, we've been found. The siren of freedom calling you home. No more hiding, let yourself roam. Rise with the tide, fearless and free. This is your destiny. The siren of freedom calling you home. No more hiding, let yourself roam. Rise with the tide, fearless and free. This is your destiny.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope this podcast has been an encouragement to you. You can find us on our website, thesirenoffreedom.com, and also on social media and Patreon under the Siren of Freedom podcast. Your support is what helps us continue to sound the alarm of freedom.
Okay, Julius, editorial notes. I'm just going to put them here. So, put the book link that she referred to, the book that she talked about. Put that link in the show notes. Put that in the transcript. Also put in the transcript that this is going to be a diary of an ethical slut, or diaries of an ethical slut, and then maybe a description, and ChatGPT can figure that description out. There's a few times where I coughed in here, get that out. And I think that's it. Thank you, brother, and have a good day.